Everybody is talking about these new proposals that have been brought into Parliament and that are due for debate very soon concerning changing the system in Kenya, from an all-powerful president, to some kind of power-sharing arrangement. Well, there'll be a prime minister. Indeed, this has caused a lot of panic amongst Kenyans. One person told me, unaona Chris bwana, unaona vile watu wanataka kufanya? I'm just tired of these people. Na hii kitu itapita Parliament haraka, pap, itapita haraka vile unasemanga pap, itapita haraka sana, pap, it's law. Chris bwana, tufanye nini? Now folks, I'll tell you exactly what I told him. Relax, boss. Relax. Okay? Why am I saying relax? The first very important thing to note in all these changes is that for these changes to become law, I mean, these are very major changes to the Constitution, and they fall under the compartment that would need a national referendum, for them ever to see the light of day. Now, if there's one thing I'm very comfortable about, and I'm extremely sure about, is that the ruling Jubilee government has a phobia. You know how you have a phobia for darkness, you have a phobia for something, you fear that thing a lot, okay? Some people have a phobia for water, and that's why they've never learned how to swim, etc., etc. Now, Jubilee has one phobia, that will make this latest move dead in the water before it even starts, And what Jubilee have, I think you all know, is something called elections phobia. Talk to Jubilee about anything else and they'll consider. But immediately you give them the idea that they have to go into some kind of election. Now, a referendum is not an election, but if indeed this is what Jubilee wants, they will know that they have to win a referendum. Majority of Kenyans have to say yes. You can change the constitution in that way, okay? And that is why I started with the single word, relax, This is not a thing of pap. No way, Even if they debate it in Parliament, it still has to be subject to a referendum. Now, before we even look into these proposals, because there are a few good things in these proposals, which is deliberate, but we'll come to that in a minute, Before we even look into them, let's try and figure out what's going on here. Now, the legislator sponsoring these far-reaching changes, the biggest changes since the passing of the 2010 Constitution into law, is a KANU MP, okay? He's not really a Jubilee MP, he's a KANU MP. If we can even give his name, he's called Kshs Kamket. Now is the legislator for Tiaty constituency, which is within Baringo. Still, I'm very suspicious. I'm extremely suspicious that this is a proposal which originated from, you guessed it, State House Nairobi. The whole idea here was to hoodwink Kenyans into believing that actually the government has nothing to do with this proposal. Okay? But why? Why would they do this? This is what I'd call a smokescreen, and it's used in politics a lot all over the world, in order for Kenyans not to see where this bill is coming from, okay? Because when they do, all kinds of political emotions kick in, which will divert attention from it. But the big question remains, what is the end game here? What does somebody want to achieve from all this? We'll answer that question after we come back from the short upcoming commercial break. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Now what's going on here is what I'd call diversionary tactics. Yeah? To divert attention away from the electoral fraud, to divert attention away from the opposition, to divert attention from anything that would suggest that Uhuru Kenyatta will not serve his full 5-year term. Yeah, that's the whole idea. Now, how do you divert attention away from where you do not want it? Yeah, you do that by setting the agenda. Yeah, deciding what the nation is going to discuss. Yeah, what people are going to be engrossed in. Yeah, and this is the perfect thing for people to be engrossed in. Okay, is it working? Of course, it's working. In fact, it's working like a charm. Yeah, nobody's discussing NASA. Nobody's discussing Raila Odinga. All attention is shifting to this bid to change the constitution. Okay? And of course, there's a lot of alarm amongst NASA supporters who do not see a referendum. They just see a house which is dominated by Jubilee legislators and Jubilee-leaning legislators. And they believe that these things will be passed very quickly, like the changes to the electoral law which were passed after the first election was nullified. Now, the fact that it's being sponsored by a KANU legislator, and the fact that we already know that things between KANU and the Jubilee ruling party are not very good. Yeah, we know kuna shida hapo. Okay, all those facts are enough for plausible deniability. Yeah, it is possible for the government to deny we have nothing to do with it. And there's enough evidence for people to doubt, yeah, and say actually, yeah, maybe Jubilee has nothing to do with this. But of course, the vast majority of Kenyans are not going to look at it that way. Yeah, they're going to say, no, Jubilee are definitely involved in this. But there'll be a large enough number, yeah, even Jubilee itself will be in a position to be able to say, no, it is not us. This is not even one of our legislators, and so on and so forth. So meanwhile, what is happening? Discussions are taking place. Heated discussions, emotive discussions, and all this is working perfectly to divert attention away from where it should really be. For the first time since the August 8th elections, yeah, the Jubilee government has succeeded in setting the agenda for the nation. Okay? It has always been the opposition which has been setting the agenda, yeah, electoral fraud, NRM, etc., etc., Raila Odinga swearing in. It has always been the opposition setting the agenda. But now, for the first time, things have changed. It is now Jubilee setting the agenda. Now, I want to draw your attention to one tiny detail which nobody has discussed, nobody's even mentioning, yeah, and I believe this is very deliberate, okay? In one of Bwana Mheshimiwa Kasait Kamket's proposals, one of his proposals is that the presidential term will be increased from 5 years to 7 years. However, it will be limited to 1 term only. Now, there's something else more significant in this change. Yeah, it will also mean that our elections will be held every 7 years. Okay, that's number one. Number two, it also means that legislators, senators, and all the elective offices will hold their offices for 7 years. Now, earlier I told you that the Jubilee government has something called elections phobia. Okay, but the truth is, no single legislator, no single politician anywhere in the world likes this thing called elections. The only people who love elections are opposition people trying to get into power, yeah, and also long-suffering voters who perhaps are fed up with their representative. Yeah, so when they hear the word elections, they rub their hands in glee, knowing that this is an opportunity to kick out this guy who's frustrating us, and yet we elected him. Okay, those are the only people who look forward to elections. But the truth is, once you're in office, that word election, it just sends a chill down your spine. That is the truth. So, what does that mean? It means that no single legislator, no single elected person in their right mind will oppose any proposal to to extend their term, from 5 years to 7 years. So after spending all that money, all that struggle, finally you're elected. After you're able to win a petition, people are trying to petition your win, finally you succeed in that. Now you're settling in office. You'd like to relax for longer in office. Therefore, that is something that is bound to receive support right across the political divide. Now, of course, Mheshimiwa Kamket, in proposing this, does not want anyone to turn around and say, hey, you're being selfish. You want to stay in parliament for 7 years. He doesn't want that to happen. So that part is conveniently left out. Let's focus on the presidency. 1 term of 7 years. Let's focus on that. The other minor details, those are minor details. Really? Minor details? Nope. They are very major details. Okay? So that's one thing I wanted to draw your attention to. That is one thing people should really look at. Now, in reality, when you want to hang on to power, 7 years, the difference between 7 years and 5 years is not there. Time just flies. Okay? So the difference is not there. Indeed, we have evidence of this from our neighbors in Rwanda. President Kagame has 7-year terms. He has been serving 7-year terms. But even those are not enough for him. I'm sure if it was up to him, he'd extend them to 10 years. Okay? But having said that, I'm one of those people who supports the president of Rwanda. Why? Because he's not like our leaders here. You go to Rwanda and you'll see what I'm talking about. Yes, there are human rights issues. Yes, people are complaining that there's no freedom of expression, there's no freedom of speech and so on and so forth. But you talk to the ordinary people in Rwanda, they're happy because the guy has transformed the whole country. Rwanda is not like Kenya. Rwanda healthcare is not an issue. If you get sick, you're sure that even if you don't have a single cent in your pocket, utapata matibabu. You'll get great healthcare. Okay? Education, the same. Okay, you could argue that the population is very low, but the truth is, this is a leader who cares for the masses. That is a huge difference between Rwanda and Kenya. And therefore, you cannot compare the dictatorial draconian regime in Nairobi with that one in Kigali. You just can't. They are miles apart. It is not an accident that investors are flocking into Kigali, into Rwanda, and they're putting a lot of money into Rwanda. Rwanda is booming. It's not an accident, okay? And I'll tell you something else interesting. This is a president, I'll give you just an example of one project. There's an ongoing project, I forget exactly what it is. But the interesting thing here is that the president hired consultants, to work alongside the Chinese who've been awarded the contract. And the whole objective of these consultants is to ensure that the project is corruption-free, that every single cent is accounted for and spent the best way possible. What? Can that really work in Kenya? At the moment, no way. That would be a pipe dream. Okay? So, I will divert it, but definitely when you talk about the regime in Kigali, Rwanda, and the one in Nairobi, you need to make a distinction. Okay? Even if you call Kagame a dictator, which he is, you need to make a very, very clear distinction. What we have in Kenya are what some people have called tumbocrats. They're just interested in themselves, their own stomachs, corruption, fiddling, getting a whole Eurobond, and then most of it is going to people's pockets. That is the really sick thing in Kenya that is not in Rwanda. And that is a fact. My apologies for getting carried away. Back to the point. Now the point is 7 years is still a short time. Okay? But on the other side of the coin, where we voters are concerned, long-suffering voters and citizens of the Republic of Kenya, 7 years is a lifetime. It is way too long. Even if you're saying you're giving a person 1 term, by the time that person leaves power, there'll be nothing left. That's really what it is. At least 5 years, there's some sort of control. Yeah, you enter power. The first 4 years, you embezzle funds. You are corrupt like there's no tomorrow. But as the 5th year approaches, unatuliza ball. Yeah, because there's an election coming. So you imagine there's no interruption for 7 years. Wow, 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 wow. That is crazy. Indeed, if it was up to me, I would propose the opposite. That the term is reduced. Presidential term, parliamentary term, is reduced to 4 years instead of 5. Why? Because one of the things about a 4-year term is that these fellows would be forced to work harder for the people. Yeah, because the elections will be threatening them, and they'll be much closer, yeah, than 5 years. Yeah, at least 1 year, you knock off 1 year and have 4 years. Indeed, in the United States, the presidential term is 4 years. And if you'll allow me to argue like the tribalists, yeah, there are so many tribes in Kenya, yeah, and if every tribe has got to have its turn to eat, yeah, reduce it to 4 years in order to give more tribes a chance. Oh gosh, I don't believe I said that. But you get my point. You get my drift. 4 years would be preferable with a 2-term limit. Okay, not 1 term. 2 terms, 4 years each. Now, Mheshimiwa Kamket's proposal, yeah, suggests a parliamentary system, yeah, with the president will have limited powers, yeah. Although reading through the small print and making a few consultations here and there, yeah, I get the feeling that the whole idea behind the Jubilee government is to have a president who will have quite a bit of power, and then this will be kind of like a power sharing arrangement. So to say the president will be ceremonial is not actually correct, because the president will still be in State House. Yeah, they'll still have state machinery, etc., etc. The all-powerful state machinery. Yeah. So while the prime minister implements, yeah, the president will be like the boss of the prime minister. Okay, because the prime minister will not be able to do a lot of things without consultations with the president. Yeah. At the end of the day, mark my words, that is how this thing is supposed to work. Now, there's something else in this proposal, okay? And this addresses the 2/3 gender rule, okay? It proposes that the wards will elect a senator for each county, actually 2 senators for each county, 1 a woman and 1 a man, okay? And of course, that will go a long way in addressing the 2/3 gender rule. And therefore, what this means is that it's bound to receive a lot of support from women groups and, people who are fighting for this constitutional requirement, which we have not yet been able to address. Yeah, those people will come on board. Of course, the whole idea here is the more the merrier. The more people get into this bandwagon of discussions and debate and so on, the better. Yeah, because the whole idea is to divert attention. However, yeah, I said at the beginning that of course it's already working. The strategy, the plan is already working. However, yeah, this is going to be short-lived. Why? Because you can be in your house and there's a fire in the kitchen, yeah, and you're trying to divert attention away from that fire by doing a lot of drama and things in the sitting room, yeah. But sooner or later, this fire in the kitchen will demand your immediate attention, yeah. So what am I saying? I'm saying that the fire in the kitchen is the electoral fraud, yeah, electoral justice, yeah, the long-suffering people of Kenya who still have a very bitter taste in their mouth after what happened on August 8th and indeed October 26th, yeah, and all these emotions are just bubbling, yeah, and therefore, yes, you can momentarily divert attention, but this is not going to last long. That one I'm very sure of. Bottom line, very good try, Jubilee. Very good try. Yeah? But I'm sorry. It will not last. Until next time, this is Kshs Kumekucha.